An empire toppled by its enemies can rise again. But one which crumbles from within, that's dead. Forever.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Cap the Hunter coming at you again. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Make sure to do me a favor. Make sure that you hit that rate, subscribe, and share button. Do me a favor and do that. Hit that rate, subscribe, and share button. So today we are filled with the drama that is Keke Palmer and her boyfriend Dariusjackson, whom she's had a child with. And I can remember when this was a controversy and people were talking about it. Keke Palmer grew up with this squeaky clean image, Nickelodeon, I believe it was, and people were very disappointed that she was one of them now that was entering into having motherhood without the benefit of a husband on her arm or by her side. That was a controversy that we all kind of had to deal with. And I wasn't going to comment on this particular incident because I got bigger fish to fry and got other things I need to do. However, it was when I saw this particular tweet by Miss Tamika Mallory, whom I actually like very much. I certainly respect the work that she's doing and trying to get justice for those persons who are falling victims to what she believes is malfeasance at the hands of the police and all the other social justice advocacy work that she does. I'm not 100%. I don't follow her 100%. I just know that she shows up at different events when and if there's a situation that happens with an unarmed killing. So Miss Tamika Mallory, I must have caught this, not long after she posted it. I was kind of scrolling through Instagram, and I believe this is a tweet, so she must have copied and pasted it to Instagram because I rarely ever go on Twitter. So it says, my quick thoughts on Keke Palmer. Her outfit was not that sexy for Vegas with her homegirls going to a show with the sexy man, Usher. She was fine, right? So here Miss Mallory is already saying that her outfit in and of itself was not problematic for the event that she was going to and what she was going to do on stage if she was going to be going on there. She's an entertainer. Miss Mallory goes on to say, Sis is an entertainer. She has grown past the child we grew up with, right? That was her days on Disney or whatever she was on. That's a grown-ass woman who's in her sexy phase. But the bigger issue is that her BD, baby daddy, more than likely has different issues and didn't want to publicly disclose what truly triggered him. Usher, the singer Usher, and her bumping and grinding. More than likely, that was the real issue. If she had on jeans, he probably would have had felt the same way. And so it's my understanding that was the issue. And we'll get into the article that I had pulled up before, but that was the issue. He's bumping and grinding, and you're a mother now, and this is a problem. These people are entertainers. Keke and Usher want people to buy what they're selling: movies, shows, brands, sex, videos, etc. Right? Yes, they could keep in touch and slide off, right? Slide off for a little rendezvous, she's saying. However, if she's willing to do that, her outfit is the least of their problems. To some extent, I think I agree with Miss Mallory that if there's a bigger problem and issue going on here, that's the issue that needs to be addressed. Now, the issue that I understand, and we'll get to the article here, is as we can slide through here, right? This is the baby daddy right here, Dariusjackson. He's wearing something that was a little too revealing. And key facts, it says right here, Palmer attended an Usher concert in Las Vegas on July 4th wearing a black bodysuit sheer dress and was serenaded by the singer on stage with his song, There Goes My Baby, while the two hugged, right? And this is coming from Forbes. They're supposed to deal with money and finances and all that. Crazy. Jackson, fitness instructor, criticized Palmer's attire in a series of tweets, first quote tweeting a video of Palmer at the performance, stating, "It's an outfit though, you a mom," right? It's the outfit though, you a mom, right? You're a mother. You're a mother and you're doing this, right? He doubled down and defended his comments after facing initial criticism. This is important for what I want to talk about today, stating, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother of to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is." So he's been getting backlash, being called insecure and whatever else they've been saying, right? This is, whatever else he's been called a hater. You're jealous. You're trying to control somebody else's body. I did see a video in which a young lady said that you're trying to control somebody else's body. Why are you so insecure? All this kind of stuff. And this brings me back to the idea of culture. And this brings me back to the video that I played at the beginning of this, right? We're no longer, in essence, being destroyed by white supremacy and all that. We're no longer being destroyed by other forces. We're being destroyed from the inside, right? I watch a lot of nature shows. There's a lot of parasites out there, parasitic animals that attack the animals of another, right? They attack parasites that attack and make. I was watching a video the other day about some type. I think it's some type of worm, hangworm or something like that. That attaches itself within the body of a praying mantis and makes the mantis jump off into water, something it would never ever do in any other circumstance. And that worm then excretes itself outside and then continues its life cycle of reproduction and doing whatever. And then somehow and there's many other parasites in nature that destroy animals from within, making them do things that are outside of their character and outside of their nature. And so we in the African American community are dealing with this. And let me pause here for a little quick announcement here. I understand that when we put this material out there, it seems as if we're attacking men. It seems as if we're attacking women. It seems as if we're attacking things, and we're putting this on the world to see. And I too have a problem when it seems and it appears as if that's what we're doing. But how else do we get our message across? Do we have a mass media of our own, newspapers, private internet security, where we can just tune in and watch? How do we get this message to our individuals and try to convince a culture and try to convince generations that our culture is dragging us down the tubes? How do we get this information out? We can't even agree that it's happening. We don't even agree that it's happening. We can't even agree that it's happening. And it's undoubtedly happening. It's undoubtedly happening, right? So as I was preparing for this, I wanted to take us through just a little walk through what's going on within the African American sphere. What does it mean to be African American? CDC, right? STD Prevention Conference, African Americans disproportionately affected by STDs, right? So we've got a number of different conferences all the way up to 2018, right? So there's other stuff here that we need to really kind of focus on, right? Let's see, unmarried child marrying, National Health for Statistics, right? We can go to these different things, right? So here are the birth rates of births to unmarried women from the CDC. And you can take a look at this and just take a look at all these different birth rates. The good news is that unwed mothers, according to some statistics, is actually decreasing. The percentage of non-marital births in 2021 increased from 2020 from non-Hispanic Asian 12.6 in 2021 and non-Hispanic women 53.2. The percentage decreased for non-Hispanic white, 27.5, non-Hispanic black, 70.1, and non-Hispanic, I believe that's Alaskan and Anchorage, Alaskan, I believe that is, 68.5. The percentage was unchanged for non-Hispanic women. The number of non-marital births was essentially unchanged, right? So there's a little bit of good news in there, right? Our education, black men, black boys are not attaining the level of degrees, and it's not off by much, in all honesty, if I remember this correctly, right? Let's see, that's the poverty rate there. Let's see. Graduation rates and college enrollment rates remain low for black students. In the year 2017 to 2018, the national adjusted cohort graduation rate, black students was 79%. The graduation for black students, 67. From 2000 to 2018, college enrollment rates from 18 to 24-year-olds increased for those who are black, 31 to 37 among black males. College enrollment rates were higher in 2018, 33% than in 2000. However, black females, the rate in 2018 was not measurably different from the rate in 2000, right? 2017, 13% of black students, right, these are STEM fields. So these are just some different numbers, just going through high school dropout rates. Fortunately, we're not first in this particular category. Persons in prison. The system of mass incarceration particularly targets black people, who are 13% of the U.S. population, but are 38% of people in prisons and in jails. Women this is a fact check by News One. Are black women really the most educated? It never answers the question, but when you read through the article, it still says that white women are number one. But however, black women are getting them more and more and more and more. They're almost exponentially increasing. Black marital status and all that. So we're on the lower end of all these things, right? And so as I ventured through a lot of this information, a lot of this material, particularly in the so-called manosphere, right? There's an acknowledgement of a problem with males in particular, with males in general, and black males in particular. And so the Brookings Institute produces a commentary, six policies to address social problems affecting black boys and men. 6 policies. And this is from an article, right? It's 2023 as I'm recording this. However, if you look at this, it's, from 2020. So they've recognized that there's been a problem addressing black males, boys and men, for quite some time. And this was written by, look at this. She seems to be, with a last name like that, Misilolek, Eastern European from descent, but she's certainly a white woman. Okay. No, I don't have a problem with that. Somebody wants to address the issue, because this is, I think, a problem that we all need to really kind of get behind. So I want to go back to why this is a big deal. Why this Keke Palmer thing is a big deal, right? We see these problems with our marital rates, our out of wedlock rates, our high school dropout rates, our STD rates, our HIV rates, our mortality rates when it comes to different diseases, particularly those that are avoidable, right? Our heart rates of heart disease, diabetes. I've addressed all this before. I've switched to a whole food plant-based diet, believe in exercise, bought an exercise bike, been riding it, go for walks, run, hit the weights. So we can address and I think that these are things that we need to address on a macro scale, not just a micro scale, right? One or two of us doing it. We really have to address and take a look at our culture. And unfortunately, the problem that I think that we're having with our culture is a culture that has not saved itself, doesn't know where it is, doesn't know where it wants to go, and praises things that other cultures condemn. Other cultures do not advocate for baby mamaism and for disrespect of being in committed relationships. This is frowned upon deeply. And, as we take a look at this, right, let's take a look at Miss Gabrielle Union in her outfit that she wore. Let's take a look at her and Miss Taraja P. Henson, right? One of these persons is married, and the other one has recently, a few months ago, been crying and complaining because she felt as if she was over the hill and can't get married. I mean, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Now, these people are entertainers. To Tamika Mallory's point, these people are entertainers, and this is not me attempting to shame individuals for trying to get their name out there, brand out there. We all know that negative attention is better than no attention. But my problem really isn't what Taraj is not wearing. My problem is with Miss Gabrielle Union, who is supposed to be a mother, to the so-called baby daddy's point there, right? You're a mother. I don't want the mother of my kids doing that. And my problem or my issue, let me be very clear and very concise about this. My problem is what she's wearing. It isn't so much what she's wearing, but the problem is what her baby daddy is saying. The respect, where's the respect for family? Where's the respect for a man of the family? He's probably using more neutral language that I would have used. I'm the man of the house. I'm the man of the family. And to Tamika's point there, if in other postings that I did read about this, right? I mean, some people are saying, until you're married, you're single. We got to figure out where we're at with this culture thing. We got to figure out where we're at with this culture thing. Are we married? Are we not married? Are we single? What's going on with this, right? And this is a problem. And the reason that this is a problem is because this type of thinking is infecting as like a virus, like a parasite. It's making us all crazy and making us all do things that we would not normally do, right? And so we really have to take a look at this, right? So remember this photo? Remember this photo of this Rhode Island state senator, I don't know, Miss Tiara Mack, who was twerking for votes, right? This is educated people who's doing this, right? So this isn't just the glamour, the glitz, the Hollywood crowd who's doing this, but this is infecting a massive culture where we have baby mama-ism, which has trickled down into the masses. The elite foolishness is trickled down into the masses, and now we have state senators doing it, right? Remember this particular, I did a show about this, right, where this particular educated therapist was twerking and doing all kind of foolishness and calling men broke and dusty and said we need to get our emotional intelligence up, and we weren't up to speed and up to par, not emotionally available and all this kind of stuff, right? It's invaded Hollywood, right? Is any of this good? I'm trying to link all this together. Is any of this good for us as a collective? Is any of this good for us as a collective? And then those of us who are getting means, and those of us who are these women who are educating themselves, who are going to schools, as we saw the numbers going there, going to schools, getting the education, going to school, becoming master's degrees, PhDs, and all this kind of stuff. And what are they doing with that extra income that they're generating? Right, they're flying over to Ghana. They're flying over to Ghana and twerking on the grave sites and on the sites of where our ancestors last saw the shores of freedom. And this is from Urban Intellectuals, also on Instagram. As much as this saddens me, I can't help but wonder who is going to reach out and mentor them? Who is going to explain why just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should? And beyond them, what are we going to do to guide this next generation away from this disgraceful situations like this and into the excellence the ancestors dream for us? It's easy, and then somebody else is going to write on, and I didn't copy all that, right? It says it's easy to point the finger at these young ladies, but, and I don't know what the rest of that says because I cut it off, but you can go over to Urban Intellectuals and kind of read through the comments there. And I would suggest people do that because I actually enjoy reading the comments because it's there that I really find out, what people are thinking about what's going on and all that. So, I want to leave this off here. This is going to be a really, really short video today. And, we turn our attention to this brother right here, Brother Umar Johnson, who I said before I like, and I do. And after I said that I like Umar Johnson, he goes on this particular podcast. It's the name of it is escaping me right now. And he says some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard the man say. It's our fault. In the 1970s, 1980s, probably even in the 1990s, there was a blitz of campaigns aimed at tearing down black men, saying we're broke, dusty, not up to par, we were trash, and all this. So black men listened. Black men heard what they had to say and stepped up our game. Went to school, some of us, got trades, opened up businesses, got ourselves together, And what did we do after all that, right? We turned around and we couldn't find some of the women that we wanted to do. And so therefore wanted to build families, homes, and lives with. And so those men either turned to other races of women, or now in the last few years, right, have gotten on planes and traveled overseas. Can you think about how bad a situation has to be? We'd rather not deal with twerking senators and deal with women who would rather go twerk in Ghana on the grave sites of our ancestors, and try to escape and try to go get a woman who is not of African American descent because of our culture. Because of our culture, and our culture that has invaded Hollywood, our culture that has invaded our intellectual elite class of therapists, PhDs, and doctors, our culture that tells us to go to restaurants, twerk on tables, and when the owners of those restaurants complain about us twerking on tables, the twerkers will seek to cancel those restaurant owners and go into Yelp and give them negative and bad reviews. This is where we're at. And when a man says, I don't want the mother of my child, I thought you were good, it's probably why he got with the man with Miss Palmer in the first place. Probably saw her grow up, probably thought she came from a good family, had means, said this would be a good baby's mother for me. And then, he starts a family. Should he have married her? Probably. Although, the marriage laws can be crazy. So maybe that's why he didn't. I never met the man, never had a conversation. I'm just kind of off the cuff speculating. But when he says, I don't want the mother of my children doing this type of thing, he has number one, he has no recourse to stop her from doing it. And number two, he gets the support of many, many people, including a lot of ladies, including men and women, who are saying that this type of behavior is okay. And we can't figure out why the numbers that I read off about our education rates, our graduation rates, our STD rates, our baby mama rates, and all these other rates that we have are just so bad and in the toilet. So let me finish off with this, and there's two more things here that I want to get to. And that is, let's take it back to this particular article about the six policies that are proposed from this particular young lady here. So 6 policies, right? Number 1, criminal justice reform, right? And I have a real problem with this. I have a real problem with this. 32% of the prison population, but only 6% of U.S. Overall U.S. population. Of course, yes, but that doesn't explain. When we start breaking down these numbers about the 45 or 47 million or so individuals, half of those, we're talking about 23, 24, or maybe 22, 23 million black men, right? 6%, I mean, that's, 32% of 6% who are in prison or whatever that means to be in prison, because those numbers can fluctuate. Who's got a sentence, who's there for the weekend, and what time, it's all crazy, right? There are 5 times more, I have a problem with these statements, 5 times more likely to be incarcerated during their lifetime than white men. I know, listen, I just have problems with all these and all that, right? So, but I'm not saying the criminal justice reform doesn't need to take place in some place, right? So that's one method that they have. 6 policies, right? Let's improve the educational system. I stand by this, and I don't know why I can't get more help from the teachers, but we've got to fix our culture before we can fix the educational system. Let me say it again. We've got to fix our culture before we fix the educational system. We've got to fix our culture before we can fix the educational system. 2 + 2 = 4 is 2 + 2 = 4 in any situation, any place, anywhere you go. Doesn't matter the school. Sitting next to a white student, sitting next to a Hispanic student, doesn't matter. Look at this. Only 28% of black men aged 25 to 29 have a bachelor's degree, while 30% of black women over 40% of men and nearly 50% of white women do. Right? These numbers are really not off, right? From the lowest 28% to 50%, it's not that great of a number, right? Okay, so let's fix the educational system. So we got to fix that, right? Well, why do I say you need to fix the educational system? Why do I say you got to fix culture? Because if you send the kids to school who are twerking, who are cussing at teachers, who are fighting, who are more affiliated and more concerned about media culture and fashion and all this other nonsense, then they're distracted from the realities, right, of what's going on. And we got to look at why the dropout rates are high. Do they not feel as if it's worth it? Do they not feel welcomed as black men, black students? Do we need more black teachers? Well, why should I become a black teacher if I'm going to be disrespected? Right, black male teacher in particular, right? So we gotta take a look at this. These are all problems that are very much intertwined, and we really gotta kind of unravel them. Just to say you gotta fix the education, there's nothing wrong with the teachers. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with the teachers. Okay, we can probably put more computers in schools and get them ready for the next. For the future, okay, that's certainly something we need to look at. But we got to fix the disrespect that goes on towards teachers. We got to fix the fact that the teachers come home, that the kids go home, and what kind of environments are they living in? What kind of cultures are they living in? These are things that we really have to take a look at, right? Place-based policy. Got to look at the neighborhoods. We've got to look at in all that, right? Because they all, as this article goes on to say, all has an issue to do with behavior issues, lower educational attainment, lower incomes and earnings, right? More boys are more sensitive to the environment that they're growing up in. This is why I appreciate that Umar Johnson's trying to build a school. Let's get the boys away from these environments. Let's get them away from toxic parents. Let's get them away from toxic cousins. Let's get them away from negative influences of all types within their environment. Put them in environments where they have strong male leadership. They can look up to be a male. They can have something to look forward to, and let's educate them that way, right? So let's take a look at those types of things. Mentorship programs, same thing as the place-based. Where do you live at? Let's get some mentorship programs, right? And then reparations. Okay, all right. So those are the six policies, but none of those had anything to do with family and culture. Those are policies that can be addressed by the U.S., by governments. But what policies should we adopt and adapt that would help young black men? And I would say that one of the biggest things we have to change, not only criminal justice reform, but we've got to improve the family. We've got to make incentives for people to get married, stay married, to make it work. We've got to invest in that, and that should be a policy about how we can get this to be done. All of these statistics that we've went over briefly, all of them, when you take a look at the common denominator, they all come from some type of single parent home, broken family, and all this. And this is problematic on a level that we just can't understand. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. I'm going to leave you off with a very touching to me speech by Miss Barbara Sizemore. I'm not going to play the whole. I'm not going to play all of it, but she talks about culture. And because we have not saved our culture cannot and has not saved us. So this problem of Ms. Keke Palmer and her boyfriend, what's his name? Dariusjackson, is a problem that we've got to solve. And the way that we solve that in the condemnation is we've got to take a look at our culture. And I stand with you, Brother Jackson. I stand with you. She's a mother and she should act like one. But what does that even mean anymore? Here's Miss Barbara Sizemore, who is now with the ancestors, I believe.
Because they don't go to jail.
Right.
The couriers go to jail. The street distributors go to jail.
That's right.
The managers of the distribution in the poor communities go to jail.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's easier to put them in jail. Because they have no group that helps them to survive.
That's right.
So these people come from the dysfunctional groups in the society.
All right.
These are the groups whose culture doesn't save them.
All right. All right.
Because the people haven't had enough sense to save their culture.
All right. All right. All right. All right.
Black people just don't get it.
All right.
We just don't get it. We just don't get it.
All right.
Other groups come in this country, they get it right away.
All right.
And we get mad at them because they get it.
All right. That's it.
I've been away from Chicago for 20 years. I came back 2 years ago. I walked down, I couldn't believe what I was seeing on 47th Street. The stores are all owned by Arabs and Koreans. These were stores that used to be owned by black people. Now none of them are. They work from dawn to sunset. They in these stores all day long selling us what we need. They have their families working in there. They don't hire nobody. Black people out there picketing, talking about they don't hire no black people. Anybody in there, everybody's related. They're all family. I said, how you gonna get a job in there? You're not Korean, fool.
That's right. That's right.
You gotta be in their family to work there.
That's right.